Avoiding conflict leads to self-disrespect. By conflict, I mean a disagreement or argument, or any situation with you and another person that causes unpleasant feelings. In other words, conflict results when you let someone else know, or they let you know, that you are unhappy with something happening between the two of you. Conflict is a necessary part of close relationships. If I could teach you how to avoid conflict completely in your life, I would. The problem is that when you avoid conflict, you also avoid closeness and honesty in relationships. Think about the closest, most intimate relationships you've had in your life. At some point, you will have experienced dissatisfaction, disappointment, or hurt feelings as a result of the other person's actions, and they will have experienced those same emotions as a result of your actions. Conflict is unavoidable in relationships with others, so I find it best to help people handle conflict skillfully rather than try to avoid conflict, a futile pursuit. There are some common reasons for avoiding conflict. One is that it's uncomfortable, usually because the other person might be upset with you or react in a way that you don't like. Another reason for avoiding conflict is fear of losing the relationship, of the other person firing complaints back at you that will end up with you feeling hurt or embarrassed. Addressing conflict also takes effort. It is much easier in the moment to sweep conflict under the rug, blow it off, so to speak, and move on with your day. Well, here's the problem with that and the connection between conflict and self-respect. When you avoid conflict because you are afraid of the other person's reaction or do not want to risk unpleasantness in the relationship, the message you are sending to yourself is that the other person's experience is more important than your own. In order to stay quiet and ignore conflict and let it roll off your back, you have to convince yourself that what you are upset about isn't important enough to bring up, or at least that it is not more important than the result of you bringing it up. This is a self-invalidating message. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go around looking for conflict wherever you find it and stir up unpleasantness wherever you can. Sometimes you may make a wise decision to sidestep conflict. But if it becomes your default way of handling possible disagreements, you might want to think about how this is impacting your self-respect. If I am upset with you, I don't like or am hurt by something that you did, and I say and do nothing and instead try and let it go, my message to myself is that how I feel and my emotional experience is not valuable enough to address. If I give myself this seemingly subtle message day after day, it erodes my self-respect. I am then experiencing the repeated message of quieting myself from speaking up and getting my needs met. If, however, I can learn to say, ouch, that hurt, I receive the message that my experience and I matter. I understand this is trickier than it sounds. If you speak up and say ouch when you don't like something, you have to know how to deal with what comes next, the other person's response. The good news is these are skills that you can build, and the more conflict you successfully handle, the better at it you become. The next time you notice yourself sidestepping a conflict, ask, what message am I giving myself? And is this the way I want to treat myself? Is this the way I would treat a loved one? Am I being caring and kind enough toward myself? Just starting to notice and ask yourself these questions can make an impact. It helps you shift from automatic knee-jerk behavior to more mindful, intentional ways of interacting. Go practice and start shifting from surviving to thriving. I'm Dr. Bando, licensed psychologist. Thank you for listening.